we have your weekend Apple news. Welcome back to the channel. Here we are again. It's the weekend, and what do we do on the weekends? We go through the Apple news. We go through about 20 different Apple-related news stories. We go through a whole bunch of tech sales as well. I usually have a beer, and today I'm having a Madrid beer. I'll maybe put some pictures up. I was actually in Madrid not too long ago, well, a couple years ago, and I don't know how to pronounce this. It's Mahou, I guess, M-A-H-O-U. It's kind of a very, very smooth cerveza. Anyways, that's my choice for today. So we always have fun on the weekends. We sit back and we go through all the Apple news stories, what's coming out. Today's a little bit a slow news week, I guess, but we're still going to go through it. Sit back and relax, and let's get into the weekend Apple news. Cheers, everyone. Okay, story number one. Here's a big change. I don't know if it's that big, but it's to the M4 MacBook Airs coming out that might make people actually upgrade from the M3. Here's a story right here from 9to5Mac. Here's one big M4 MacBook feature that could make you upgrade from your M3. Now, earlier, a couple weeks ago, we talked about, we think it's coming out with 3 Thunderbolt ports instead of 2. That was one of the big changes, all right? But this one's a little bit different. And we're going to kind of say it right here. So Apple's expected to launch the M4 MacBook Air very soon, likely as its first new product of the year. So we think this is coming out within a month, somewhere within a month from now, maybe the beginning of March, but hopefully a little bit sooner than that. But what is actually going on here? Let's take a look. It says right here, historically, external display support has not been the MacBook Air's strong suit. Both the M1 and M2 MacBook Air only allow you to connect to a single monitor. Then the M3, actually, it says the M3 Air enabled driving 2 displays, basically, but there's a catch. You have to keep it in clamshell mode, your actual Mac. Well, now they think on the M4, it's going to allow 2 different displays, and you can have the open Mac. And what that allows you to do is you can then use your actual screen on the Mac, and you can also use it, you know, obviously your keyboard and your trackpad and all that stuff without having it closed. You don't have to have an external keyboard or an external mouse. That could be a big change for the M4 for a lot of people. And they think that's coming. Again, these are all rumors, but they think that's coming on the M4 MacBook Air. Well, that last news story was pretty good news for the M4 MacBook Air. There's some bad news for future MacBook Airs. Hear me out here. This is from Mac Rumors. It says right here, MacBook Air with OLED display reportedly delayed. Wait for a MacBook Air with OLED display may take longer than initially expected. So what we thought it was going to come out fairly soon, but there's a catch here. Now, these are all rumors again, but this Korean website says, it basically said an industry source stated that the MacBook Air with an OLED display will likely be released in 2029 instead of 2027 as originally planned. The report said that Apple has made the decision as a result of a lower than expected sales on the first iPad Pro models with OLED displays. So what they're saying is Apple's made the decision because of the iPad Airs didn't kind of like outsell everything because of the OLEDs. They're going to not come out with it on the Air until 2029. This is again a rumor, but it's coming from an industry source, and that they say below it's got, you know, a good track record as well. So for all it's worth, I mean, even 2027 was like, at first I read it and I'm like 2027, and it's saying 2029. So who knows? You got to wait. All right, if you watched my last video, I dropped it yesterday, I believe. I actually picked up the M4 Pro Mac Mini sitting right there, and now I have Thunderbolt 5. So we're going to do a whole bunch of testing on this channel, right? But the accessories are so expensive. Here's one that just came out, just out of, you know, I just found it. It's called the Echo 13 Thunderbolt 5 SSD dock with 2 terabytes. So it's 2 terabytes that you can't really take out. $4.99, so you can see it down here. It's actually interesting because it is a dock here. And it says it's coming out in March or the end of February, March. So it's out of stock right now. But it's a full dock you get here. Let's just go down here. It says it's going to be up to 6,100 on the reads, 4,000 on the writes. And if you have only Thunderbolt 4, it's going to be 34 and 21. But you can get up to 6,100 with Thunderbolt 5. And then you get, you know, all these different ports. Let me actually go down to where the ports are. I'll kind of zoom in here, but you can see all the ports in here. We got a couple USB-Cs, USB-A. We got the SD card readers. And more, these are USB-As. I guess we don't use those too often. We got the Ethernet here, 2.5 gigabit per second. That's actually an upgrade from the 1,000 or 100. No, the 1 gigabit per second. I'm sorry. 2 Thunderbolt ports here, and then Kensington locks on the side. So overall, it's not bad. And then let me actually go back here. I think there's a cheaper version. So that one was $4.99. That's 2 terabytes. Here's $3.99 here for 1 terabyte. So I mean, it's still crazy expensive, right? I mean, that's almost as much as like the base level Mac Mini down here. But they're coming, so I guess we're going to have to wait a little longer for the prices to drop. And I'm going to keep trying to get them and have them send them to me so I can review them and help you guys out. All right, we got a low price alert here. Not too exciting, but here it is right here on Amazon. Here's the Apple AirTag 4-pack. It's down to $69.99, almost 30% off, 29% off, down from $99 right now. You can usually get these for like in the 70s, but $69.99, it rang up as a kind of a low price alert for me. So if you want to pick this up, it's on Amazon right now. So that's actually a good deal. Now let's talk about this. Now this exact M4 down here, we all kind of talked about this on the channel, how storage is so expensive, and it's crazy expensive. But there's a lot of sites now popping up, and I think I'm going to try it eventually on the channel, maybe not with this one, but maybe with the base metal. But look at this site over here. This is actually a site called store.m4-ssd.com, and they actually are selling these little mini drives online right now. It says a 2 terabyte drive right here. Let's click on this. So this is the little drive that you can replace your Mac Mini's drive with. So 2 terabytes is $300, usually $350. That's coming down from what they originally had right here. It's on sale. Let me go back, except there's, it doesn't look like the stars are that good on the review. Here's 1 terabyte right here for $170. So 1 terabyte drive for the Mac Mini M4. And you get the idea here. So I don't know anything about this site or anything like that. I'm just kind of pointing it out because I was doing some research. This is kind of funny. I went to, Google, and I scrolled down and I typed in, buying an internal SSD for your M4 Mac Mini. And look at this. There's like ones showing up on AliExpress all over the place. I mean, if you click on these things, it says 1 or 2 terabytes for the Mac Mini. So we're going to click on this. So it goes to the AliExpress site here. And supposedly you can get this for $118. And it doesn't exactly say what it is. It says solid state drive kit 1 terabyte / 2 terabyte for my Mac Mini. Actually, down here it does say 1 terabyte. So you can get, let me just see here, 1 terabyte there. Here's a 2 terabyte kit for $197. So it's actually cheaper. So you can see that the other one's probably just reselling this. So I don't know. We'll have to do some videos on this eventually. But you guys tell me, post if you've done this in the comments. I want to know people that have actually done this successfully, and if you'd even trust this kind of a thing in something so expensive, especially the Pro version. Okay, so we have a couple sales here, and I always do this in this, in the show. I always like to show kind of the tech sales, but especially Apple related. Some are just normal tech. Here's one from Micro Center. I've been showing them a lot because they've had some really good sales. I actually got this Mac Mini for only $11.99. That's the Pro version, $200 off. But take a look at this. If you just want to get the M4, or actually the Apple MacBook Pro, this is going to be the M4 version of it though. The standard M4 chip, 14-inch. It's actually 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD, but it's down to $349, not even $399. Usually, it's $15.99 to begin with, but it's $250 off right now on Micro Center, and all their sales are phenomenal. In a great place. If you have one near you in the United States, definitely walk in and see what they have in stock. I mean, that's actually a good deal there. It's about $50 off the lowest price. I mean, this is the low price alert for sure. Then the next one I kind of talked about before, but if you don't have enough money for this one, which is $11.99, here's the one kind of I recommend because you're getting $100 off. This is the M4 Mac Mini, 24 gigs of RAM, so you get 24 gigs, 512 gigabyte SSD, 2 upgrades there, double the SSD, double the RAM, $8.99, usually $9.99. You don't need any kind of special educational thing or anything like that. Obviously, you can get that through Apple, but here it's just given to you. So you're only paying half now, less than $100 off of. You get half off of one of those. So pick your poison, right? So you go from the base model. So you can take $100 off the storage, or you can take $100 off the RAM, and then you can justify it a little bit easier, right? But I think that's a good price for what's out there. And then finally, I talked about this one too, but I was thinking about this. I may actually have to do some testing on this one because look at the price of this. So you could obviously buy the base level, the $599 Mac Mini, right? Sometimes you can get it for $499, or you could buy this right here at Micro Center right now, $699. This is the M2, but it's the M2 Pro 10-core, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD. So you get, obviously more storage than the base level of the M4. You get the same amount of RAM, but it's the Pro chip right here, but it's only the M2 for $699. This used to be like around $1,200 just a couple months ago. Now it's down to like basically half of that. So my question to everybody out there is, would it be a better buy to buy this, or would it be better to buy the base level M4 Mac Mini? And I want to hear in the comments what you think. So now if you're waiting for the M5 iPad Pro later this year, and you're waiting for like a whole bunch of changes and stuff, there isn't going to be many. Here it is from Apple Insider. It says Apple's iPad Pro will see only minor 2025 updates, it says supply chain. So here it is right here. We're expecting this later in the year. If you scroll down, the rumor's pretty high here. So it says the report in this ELEC is focused on the specific OLED component company. It's called LX Semicon. So basically this company right here, LX Semicon, is going to, which is said to be hoping to gain approval for Apple's mass production for one device. So the company is going to basically take over this. It's called a display driver IC, or the processor that controls the screen. So this company is actually going to change on either the big one or the small one. They're going to start replacing that little processor in one of those iPads. Now, obviously nobody's even going to notice that, right? That's just one change. Whether it's going to be a good idea or not, what the article says is it could get some competition going between them, and I think Samsung makes the other one, and then they're going to actually, maybe the prices will come down a little bit. Long story short, that's not really a big change. The only change they're even saying throughout the whole article is just that M5 chip going from the M4 to the M5. And I have to, ask people, like, what in the world would you need the M5 chip for? I understand people, we've been through this a million times and stuff like that. People that draw and stuff. There's very specific people that need it. But for people that are just normal users, I mean, why in the world would you need an M5 on an iPad Pro? The M4 is in there, and there's been really no software updates either. So we'll have to wait to see if that actually happens. But at the current state, would an M5 even be needed? And again, the answer is probably no. Okay, and now if you're waiting for the iPad Air to come out, there's some more news on this as well. Now, earlier we reported that it could possibly come out with the M4 chip, and we thought that did make a lot of sense. Well, there's another kind of follow-up rumor right now, and it's pretty high, I guess, and they're saying that that's not the case. So right here from Apple Insider, it says iPad Air update, rumored to get the M3 upgrade, not the M4. So down here it says basically, an accurate leaker, they're not saying who it is predicting that the next iPad Air will use the M3 chip, countering rumors of a jump up to the M4. And it says the listing included the name iPad Air 13 M3, which refers to the 13-inch model. The use of the M3 indicates that the chip will move along from the existing M2 to the M3. And this is basically by this guy, the social media by Evan Blass. He basically, does a lot of leaks and stuff like that. But basically, he saw this somewhere in some kind of ad that came out that was in pre-production, and he's claiming it's only going to be the M3, not the M4, which makes sense to me, right? I just got off saying, why does the Pro model need the M5? I mean, why would this thing even need the M4, right? I think the M3 is good enough for that iPad Air for sure, and I think I'd be happy with that. So if you're thinking about becoming the next big singer on like Spotify or YouTube or one of these kind of music streaming services, obviously, let's say you're kind of getting really close to doing that. How much are you going to make in money when you stream your stuff? It's interesting to know, right? I mean, that's kind of interesting information. Here we are from 9 to 5 Mac. It says Apple Music pays artists more than 2 times Spotify's average rates per report. So we'll just scroll down to the meat of the potatoes here. It says one major metric tracked on how much each streamer pays out for 1,000 streams of that music. Here's what the report shows for 2024 payouts per 1,000 streams. It says Amazon, you make $8.80. So what that equates to is $1 million would equal $8,800. $8,800 for 1 million views on Amazon, or 1 million streams of that song. Apple Music's at $620, so it's holding strong here. YouTube's down to $480, and then Spotify's all the way down to $3. And, a lot of people say, well, Spotify has, a tier where they have ads and stuff, and that might be hurting it. Well, it says down here, Spotify can't fully blame the ad-supported plan for the low payout since YouTube, basically another super heavy ad service, pays 50% more on average. You can see the difference here, $480 versus $3. But look at that, Amazon and Apple Music, those are the places you want to be if you're a streamer. It's good to know. Now, I hope everyone's having a great weekend again. This is actually, try this. It's actually very light. It's kind of a Cerveza, although it doesn't look that light, does it? I actually poured it. It was darker than I thought. Okay, so now if you're into the Thunderbolt 5 kind of thing happening and you have one of these things sitting in front of me, like a Pro version, a lot of people don't, but you need some cables. Here's the cheapest one I found that's actually got really good ratings, and I'm going to be shipping one in to test it. Here is the OWC Thunderbolt 5 cable. It says right here, 80 gigabit of bidirectional data speed up to 120 gig for higher density bandwidth, 240 watts. It's down to $19.99 right now, 13% off, usually $22. Really good choice. OWC generally has good products, but I thought that was a really good deal considering the Apple one is around $79, $69, $79, somewhere in that range. Granted, you get what you pay for, I understand that, but this has got a 4.7 out of 5, and it's got over about 1,600 reviews right now, so a lot of people are buying it. Okay, this next article was kind of interesting to me just because, obviously everyone keeps saying, why don't you update the iPad's OS? The iPhone always looks exactly the same. Well, there's a problem behind why they do this, or there's a reason why they don't change it. And this is the reason, this just gives a good example. 9 to 5 Mac. It says, App Debacle explains why Apple won't do major iOS designs anymore, redesigns. And this could mean all their devices, not just iOS. If you scroll in here, do you remember the days when the iOS might introduce a major redesign? iOS 7, I'm looking at you. So that obviously in iOS 7, they made like a huge redesign of everything, and all the fonts look different, everything. It says right here, Sonos redesign debacle is a cautionary tale. Sonos, in case you haven't been paying attention, has had a very bad go of it lately. So what basically happened is they fired their CEO. They came out with a new app. It didn't work right. People hated it. He got so much bad press on it. he got fired, right? Sales went down. They're really struggling. A lot of things are going on. And so what this article goes on to say is, because of the fact that there's just before when Apple was small, they actually were able to reach a small number of people that were kind of looking technology forward. I mean, they were the kind of the innovators of the time. But Apple got so big now with hundreds of millions of users, and a lot of those users are very basic users, that any type of little change screws up everything, right? People, they get more tech support than they could even handle, so they can't really do that anymore. And it kind of stops the innovation there. Now, they're really good at still making good changes to it, but they just can't make big changes. And that's the reason behind it, and that's a cautionary tale. Okay, so we have a couple more sales here. Now, if you're looking for external storage, I actually have a Exec drive or Exec external SSD here. That's not what I'm talking about, but something for this or something for any of your Mac computers. A couple good deals going on right now. Take a look over here. Here's Amazon. This is the Crucial X6 2 terabyte portable SSD. It says up to 800 megabytes per second. It's $99, but for 2 terabytes SSD for under $100, you can't go wrong. It's 32% off, usually $145. So really good deal. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom here, let me just get to the bottom. Obviously it's like the size of a little puck there. You saw the picture there. But I mean, people are getting what they're claiming here. This guy got 834.58 and 812.52. So obviously a lot better than just a spinning hard drive, obviously. But still good and better than a 2.5-inch SSD like a SATA drive, and 2 terabytes right there for under $100. So you can't go wrong with that, in my opinion. Now, the other option you have here is if you, instead of buying just like, how you see like the 1 terabyte spinning drives you can buy, Toshiba makes them and stuff like that, and you can get them for like $50, but they're slow, right? Because they're not even an SSD. Well, finally, SSDs are starting to catch up here. Here's the Buffalo external SSD drive, 1 terabyte, compatible with the PS4, PS5, Windows, and the Mac. Now it's got a USB-C, it looks like it's USB-A in the connector, but it's got a dongle, which it's got 2 cables basically. So you get both of them. It says $56 right now, 19% off, usually $70. Now we're down to $56 for this. And again, you're not going to get the fastest speed with this. Let me just get to the bottom down here. This is not one that you buy for speed, but it's not bad. I mean, look at this. It's 603 and then 575 on the rights. So not too bad here overall for, getting down to the price of spinning drive, which is usually like around 100 to 200 megabytes per second. This one actually is over 600, which is really good and a really good price. Okay, this next article is about your iPhone, and it's very concerning. Post in the comments if this happened to you, because I want to know if people are seeing this, because they're saying it's common now or it's becoming common. Kind of concerning. Right here, Apple Insider. If your iPhone alarms aren't going off, you're not alone. Isn't that? I mean, if you're not going to be able to get up. Down here it's saying, as scattered reports across social media show that the iPhone is yet again failing to wake people up. It's saying nothing starts off the day on the wrong foot, like missing your alarm when you have to be somewhere. And isn't that true? That's very concerning, and it's kind of something that you got to worry about. It says, there's a lot of people posting comments like this guy, Skyler. Why my iPhone alarm never going off recently is what is this? He's basically having some problems with it. They're saying it looks like, it looks as though the problem began on or slightly before January 22nd here. Prior to that, most of the complaints were about the iPhone alarm sound resetting to 100% loudness and not the lack, not no sound. It was going up to 100% instead of going down. Now it looks like it's going down to 0. So the volume, says that the volume bug affects, this Apple Insider writer. So they're basically saying that there's reports coming out since the 22nd of the alarm, actually the volume going down and it not waking people up. So long story short, just something that I just wanted to kind of notify people of what's going on here. You can get to the article here on Apple Insider if you want to find out more of it and read. There's a kind of a thing that you can do in here if you want to try to fix it and stuff like that. So definitely visit the website. I just wanted to let you know it's available. We got another one here from Mac Rumors right here. This one actually says Apple brings in new exec to fix Siri and Apple intelligence. Apple's making an internal staffing change that hopes it will improve Siri and the artificial intelligence offering, reports Bloomberg. Kim Vorath, a 37-year-old Apple veteran, is to join the Apple team for the AI, basically working under AI chief John right here. So we get the idea. So they're having some problems, obviously. We know all the reports and notifications have been turned off and stuff like that. And they're saying, and I'm going to prove that to you in a second, there's a whole bunch of other issues. This person, Vorahath, or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce her name, is a program management VP and has a reputation of basically managing software projects at Apple and ensuring employees meet deadlines. She has been described as Apple's bug wrangler. And she's a powerful force in the company. So you know what that means, right? It's all trouble, right? Anyway, she's involved now. They brought her in to kind of clean things up. And now, why would they be doing this? And we praise Apple like all the time on this channel. So it's fair. I mean, on the news here, I kind of talk about them a lot where all the things that go wrong. And it's kind of fun. But there's a reason for it because some things definitely go wrong with Apple products like this right here. All right, it says right here, Siri gives Eagles 33 false Super Bowl wins in basic knowledge test. In what may not come as much of a surprise to a lot of people, the new test of Siri's knowledge of the Super Bowl history has revealed significant accuracy issues with Apple's virtual assistant, suggesting that Apple still has a way to go in overcoming challenges with Siri's ability to provide reliable information. I like the little skull here. It says basically here, in an experiment, Paul Kafasis, he asked Siri who won each Super Bowl through 1 through LX, I think that is at 60, and documented the responses. The results were strikingly poor, with Siri correctly identifying winners in only 34% of the time. Just 20 correct answers out of 58 played Super Bowls. Maybe it's 58, I don't know. You get the idea. He says basically, it reported that the Philadelphia Eagles, with 33 Super Bowl victories, it actually had them win 33 in a row. Can you believe that? Or not 33 in a row, but 33 out of the 58. That's crazy. So like they were off that much on it. And this is going to be Apple's attempt at this kind of virtual assistant, and you can't trust it, right? I mean, even if they're wrong once, you can't trust it. And this guy did this test, and supposedly this is what he got. And this has been on multiple websites. I've read about this. So I don't know if it's true. I'm going to have to do my own tests, but be very weary of trusting those things yet. And especially in Apple. I mean, we know that it's a debacle. That's why they hired the other person. And hopefully it gets better soon. It needs to. Okay, we got a couple more sales here on Amazon. Here's one right here. I thought this was a good deal. Still a good deal, at least. It's basically the M4 chip. It's going to be 14-inch MacBook Pro. Now, this is just the M4, not the M4 Pro chip. 16 gigs, but 1 terabyte SSD, $15.99, usually $17.99. So it's basically the same cost as you would normally pay for this, and you get the 1 terabyte for free. So it goes up, obviously, that tier for you. You save $200. I think this is the laptop I think most people should get. It's got the right amount of RAM. It's got the right amount of storage, 1 terabyte, and it's way faster than most people need in the M4 chip. I think that's a good deal overall. The next one here is basically not this one, but the one right below this one. This is going to be and this is on Amazon. This is the 2024 M4 chip. This is going to be basically the 24 gigs of RAM, though, and 512 gigabyte SSD. So you get 2 upgrades here, $939. That's actually a pretty good deal, right? $939. I think, though, like I said, I believe on Microsoft it was even a little bit cheaper. But some people have, I believe, if you have a card for this or something, like I have a bunch of Amazon people give it to me for my birthday and stuff, usually, and I use them on this. So it might be a good reason to actually use Amazon here. So that's a pretty good deal. But again, then you get the 2 upgrades here. And I think that's a good price there. I mean, at least you're getting something off of it, right? A lot of times you're not finding too many deals out there right now on that. So anyways, for all it's worth, maybe pick it up. Okay, are you feeling old today? Well, this might make you feel a little bit older, right? I can't believe it's been this long. Mac Rumors says Apple's Macintosh turns 41 today. Apple announced the Macintosh 41 years ago, introducing the first widely successful personal computer with graphical interface. So it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, you can see the picture of it right here. I mean, can you imagine 41 years ago for a computer like that? Now, did you have one of these way back then? If you did, you had to be rich, right? Because look at this. It says the Macintosh was priced at $2,500 roughly, equivalent to over $7,000 today. It featured an 8 megahertz Motorola 68000 processor paired with 128 kilobytes of RAM, upgradable to 512, and a 400 kilobyte 3.5 inch floppy drive, which is crazy. A 9-inch black and white CTR as well. Almost $7,000 in today's money, 41 years ago. You had to be like the Rockefellers. Now, at the exact same time, the reason this may ring more of a bell, do you remember the Apple commercial that's super famous? Take a look here, 9 to 5 Mac. It says Apple's iconic 1984 Super Bowl ad aired 41 years ago this week. So obviously it was the ad for that computer we just talked about, and how it almost didn't happen. This is kind of interesting. Let me explain this here. Okay, it says right here, how this almost didn't happen. It says basically when Steve Jobs first saw the ad at the internal meeting, his first reaction was, "Oh, SHIT. This is amazing," said the Apple person. They loved it. Steve Wozniak shared the same opinion, calling it better than any science fiction trailer. So both Wozniak and Jobs loved the thing, all right? But after seeing it, the board actually saw it. Board member Mike Markula suggested finding a new marketing agency and firing this other guy. According to Scully, the other members of the board had similar opinions. They just looked at each other and they thought, this is the craziest ad I've ever seen. We don't want this, to be representing Apple at all. But still, Jobs and Wozniak actually wanted it. So basically, after getting cold feet, Scully instructed them basically to sell off the Super Bowl ad they had purchased. but he quietly disobeyed. At the time, they had only two slots, a 60-second ad that played during the third quarter and a 30-second shorter version of the ad running later in the game. So this one guy, Chat, he basically sold out the 30-second and told Scully it was too late to sell the more extended 60-second one. So he actually kind of lied about it, and he let it go out. And they said that Jobs and Wozniak were actually going to put up their own money to run it because they liked it that much if they didn't do this. But long story short, he kind of just manipulated them and just said, well, it's too late to pull one of them. And the guy let it go, and the rest is history. It went down as like one of the best ad campaigns of all time. So pretty interesting. Okay, now is this a sign of the times we live in? It's kind of sad, isn't it? I mean, I was looking at this device and I was like, does people actually really need this? Now, I understand if it's like a kiosk. I understand, if you're like working in a store or like a Subway or something, this could be needed. But still, it's like, are we really living in this time? 9 to 5 Mac. It says Apple now selling a $69 Kensington security mount for the redesigned M4 Mac Mini here. Take a look at this thing. So here it is right here, but let me just scroll down. It's got this whole contraption. It's got this whole cable here, it goes around your Mac Mini so people can't steal it and walk away with it. I mean, it's interesting in the fact that you even need this in this today's day and age, but the reality of the system is people will steal, a lollipop from your pocket, let alone a Mac Mini. So you probably need something like this if it's in a store. All right, post in the comments. Do you guys still use Netflix? I mean, how many people use Netflix? This is not really Mac related, but it's interesting because they keep doing this to us right here. Apple Insider. Netflix is getting another price hike to kick off 2025. So if you have Netflix, let's just go down here. In a likely attempt to satisfy current shareholders, of course, and deal with basically increased content production, which they've been putting out, I guess. There's, and licensing costs, they're increasing their pricing again, and it's going to be worldwide. So it says right here, it says that the company's cheapest ad-supported plan will increase to $7.99 per month, up from the previous $6.99. So a little bit of an increase there, but still, they're just kind of like slowly picking away at it. And then the standard ad-free plan will go from $15.49 to $17.99. That's a big increase. The price, basically $2 or more than $2 higher. And actually, no, it says the price of the premium tier will basically go up $2. So that middle tier goes up like $2.50, and this other one, the premium, goes up $2. Now, it says Netflix announced the price increase in recent earnings statement. Netflix wants to deliver more value, this is what they're saying, to its members through investment and programming. As a result, the company will occasionally ask its customers to pay a little bit more. So here we go again, $2.50 for that mid-tier. I mean, and they're going to be doing this every single year. So eventually, when this gets to the price of your cable, I mean, when does it stop, right? It just keeps going, but it's just good to know. Okay, so we got a couple more sales here, and then we'll wrap this up. Now, I always talk about, I talk about a lot of Mac products in here, but here's some products that I kind of use with my Mac, and I love these things. So here's the first one. Here's the Anker Solix C200 DC power bank. It's on sale 41% off. It's $99 right now. I mean, pretty crazy. Usually about $170. It's 60,000 milliamps right here, and it's 192 watt hours. So you can see it in here. I don't know if you can see in here, but basically, I just got a couple ads there. That's great. You can see in here, though, that it's got, it doesn't have the plugs, but it has 2 USB-A, 3 USB-C, all different, power wattage. It's got a place for a solar panel if you want to connect that. Gives you some good readings there. But long story short, this thing can charge, let me just get in here. It can charge a lot of devices. It says your iPhone 13 times, your Mac laptop maybe 3 times and stuff like that. So it's got enough power and juice in there to do a lot of, stuff. And the way I recommend using these kind of things is I put them like, if you have a house where you don't have a lot of plugs in that region, maybe like, maybe your couch is in the middle of your room in your family room and you have a coffee table. I'll put that under the coffee table and I can plug in all my devices while I'm watching the TV, right? Or stuff like that. Or if you're in your garage or your basement, you don't want to go, reaching for, going under desks and stuff, just bring this with you. It's a great option. Now, I have a bigger one. I have a 1,000 watt hour one, and it's great. I mean, especially in power outages and what's going on. But I thought this was one of the best deals I've found so far. So if you want like a whole house one that can do your refrigerator, your washer and dryer, even your furnace if you have it wired correctly, take a look over here. This is the Anker Solix. This is the F2000 portable power station. Now, this actually comes with 2 different devices. You can see over here, it's got the top one right there and the bottom one. This is kind of the secondary battery that connects to this one down here. That's the primary down there. So if you look at this is going to be, both of them combined are 4,096 watt hours right here. Crazy. And it can spike up to 2,400 watts. And it's a GAN, so it's going to be that actual, that's going to help with, basically it's more efficient and it helps with, overcharging and stuff like that. So that's actually really good too. Look at this, $19.99. It's usually $3,000. It's $1,000 off right now, 33% off. And this is phenomenal. This has got the power plugs. I think it's even got a 208. It's got 208 plug on it, a bunch of just normal 120 plugs. all the USB-C you need in the world, and then you can also connect solar to it if you want to. It's got a cigarette lighter, so it's got everything that you need here for that cost. This is one of the lowest deals I've found, and it'll get you out of a power situation in your house for maybe a day or two full days of even keeping your fridge and stuff in service. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the video. Check out my channel, though. I just did a video. I got the M4 Pro here, Mac Mini, and I had the original version before, and I'm going to be comparing this one to the one that's kind of the lower version. So if you guys like the Mac Minis, definitely subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of, I just did a video yesterday, but I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on this thing, including all the accessories. I do it for I do this for you. I don't need all these Macs. Trust me. People keep saying, why do you have so many Macs? Because I have a Mac channel, right? Otherwise, I would have one. That's all I need. But unfortunately, I got to spend money to make money, and that's where it is. So we'll talk to everybody in the next one. We do the news once a week. We usually, like I said, relax, have a beer, kind of call it Apple, have some fun, and catch me in the next one. Peace.